Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BloombergQuint Live. I'm Neeraj Shah, and lots has happened between the time that I thought of what I would say on the trade setup and now as well, because the monsoons are here in Mumbai too. So, well, let's see if the rain gods are kind enough in the current season. They need not be too early as well, but as long as a monsoon is sufficient in the country, that's good news. But typically, the heralding in of the monsoons augurs well. There's also heralding in of Unlock India 1.0. So we'll talk about that as well. So lots happening. But first, the global cues. The markets have done okay, despite the fact that the news flow isn't the most positive. I mean, US, we all know what's happening with the drought part situation, but that notwithstanding, Donald Trump's comments on China and China's return comments haven't exactly been great for equity markets. But I think that's what's probably happened. I think Trump in the press conference mentioned that sanctions against Chinese officials are coming and the US will cut ties with the WHO as well. So lots happening essentially on the global front. Too difficult to compile everything. But keep in mind that despite that and despite a lackluster Friday, the US markets have ended the month of May with a 4% gain. So there is a bit of gain that the mother market has put in behind. And while the futures aren't exactly suggesting a gung ho open today as well, the rest of the screen is looking all okay. So if you look at the Asian screen, for example, across the board, we have some green on the screen. Hang Seng is up about 3%. I think Kospi is gaining as well a bit in trade. There was some report which suggested that countries like South Korea, US, etc., will all do much better than the other economies. So Asia is starting off on a firm footing, to be honest, and that is rubbing off that, plus the fact that the Indian economy is opening up as well, is rubbing off on the sentiment around India too. So India has a lot of positive sentiments, right? We are waiting auto sales numbers, of course, but the monsoon coming in, economy opening up, it's unlock 1.0, as I said, and all of that probably augurs well. The SGX Nifty giving you the cues about a percent and a half, if I'm not wrong, is what the SGX Nifty is pointing towards. So we'll have a start in the green. The question is, can we build on from there? I think that is the key thing. 1.51% up for the SGX Nifty. That's a pretty stellar opening. Now, just keep in mind, the economic news aren't the most positive. As I said, the Q4 the GDP numbers came out, of course, Friday. For all of you who missed it in the remotest of my imaginations, but the real GDP growth of 3.1% reflects the continued growth slowdown even before the lockdown kicked in. So one shudders to think what will happen when the when the actual lockdown impact comes into force. So I must say it was slightly better than what the whisper numbers were. But the fiscal deficit for FY20 breached the target and hit about 4.6% mark. So that's not the most positive. But I think today almost everybody is looking up to the graded opening up process announced in India. Maharashtra, Mumbai have some other rules as well. Some of the other containment zones have other rules, but largely they're looking at the economy starting to open up. It's later than what people would have anticipated, but nevertheless, we have it. So the trade setup today is based on that, right? I mean, Nifty's witnessed the longest pullback, the current pullback in the past 4 weeks, because there has been a rally of about 800 points, circa 800 points, versus the previous up move of 541 points. So this is the longest up move, and the broader market participation is very strong, which would inch up further on the economy opening up. So therefore, we have the large caps and the mid caps all looking to do well. Let's wait and watch how they shape up. In amongst all of this, when we start off well, the stocks that one should watch out for, there are a bunch of them. I've chosen a few that I think are important. So Adani Power, they're going to consider the proposal for delisting of shares on June 3rd. The promoter group holds about 74.97% stake. So this is not fantasy. They've announced it. This stock should react. Well, the restarting of operations in a graded fashion across the country, across different businesses, I thought the ones that are likely to have the biggest impact are stocks like Phoenix Mills, because malls will open up in a graded fashion from June 8th. Indian hotels, again, hotels will open up in a graded fashion from June 8th, and restaurants will open up in a graded fashion from June 8th. So it will be different for different businesses, but these three names will pull them up. Indian hotels, Jubilant Foodworks, as well as Phoenix Mills are the three most important stocks, viewers, that I think all of you should keep an eye out for in the session today. Then we'll also look out for SRF. They have given that COVID-19 impact. They are saying that the chemicals business and the packaging business have restarted. The technical textile business have adversely impacted, but the export sales of the company have remained robust, and they expect to see the demand revival for most of the B2B domestic sales if lockdown eases well This was an update that came in on Saturday. The lockdown has shown signs of easing out. This should augur well. Maybe SRF could react positively. Remember, the specialty chemical space has been very, very resilient. Maybe this gives a bit of a leg up to SRF as well. So do watch out for that. Amongst numbers, I think three or four stand out for me. IDBI Bank, the standalone numbers, the net interest income was up about 46%. There is a net profit that they've logged in worth of 135 crores versus a loss that came in the corresponding quarter last year of 4,918 crores. Provisions have been scaled down dramatically as well. The key is after a 30,000 crore loss spread over 13 successive quarters, IDBI Bank has posted a profit in March 1st. Maybe this would react well. By the way, another PSU that could do really well is RCF on the back of the numbers. So keep that in mind. Uh, uh, and then the stocks like Polycab, Voltas, Jubilant Life, all of these came out with a very strong operational performance. For Voltas, a lot of other factors worked too. I think relative to peers like Blue Star, it has done better. Jubilant Life came in ahead of estimates. Polycab, the revenue numbers weren't the best, but the operational numbers were very, very strong. But the common thread between all of these is that the operational numbers were good. We know what's happened when stocks have come out with good numbers in the cooling solution space. Symphony, viewers would remember on Friday, had a 10% upward circuit. Voltas has come out with good numbers. I'm not saying let's go a 10% upward circuit, but do watch out for this stock as well. Lastly, I mean, from a world watcher perspective, it would be unwise to end the trade setup today without talking along the most important achievements from an Earthling perspective, right? I mean, SpaceX, Crew Dragon capsule carrying the NASA astronauts docked with the International Space Station. It's become the first privately designed and built spacecraft to do so. Yes, it's not an Indian thing, but it doesn't matter from an Earth inhabitant perspective. This is great news. You can't help but feel proud about the achievement that SpaceX has had. And I think it's worth a mention here. I think it's worth, for any of you who haven't seen it, they actually showing a lot of this footage live as well, or live or recorded versions as well. Urge you to read more about this on BloombergQuint.com as well. It's a very important thing. And I think all of us should feel proud of this, even though we are not US citizens, but it doesn't matter. It's a proud moment for all of us. But nevertheless, that's it from my end. It promises to be a good start to the trading day today. Let's see if we can hold up. Watch out for stock specific activity. The broader market has started participating. We could well have a good run out there today as well. Thanks so much for tuning in.